Good morning. It's a Unitarian Universalist miracle. We're starting a minute early. Welcome to this place of peace, justice, and hope. In this Unitarian Universalist congregation, we affirm no matter who you are, who you love, or where you are in your journey, you are welcome here. For those of you joining us online, we are so glad that you're with us. If you're visiting with us today, we invite you to sign our visitors' books, which are in the back room right back there. And if you would like to join us for coffee hour downstairs, feel free to take a green mug so that we can be sure to greet you. Also, members and friends, to help folks connect, remember to wear your name tags with your pronoun stickers. If you need a new name tag, you can request that in the living room right back there. I am Susan Morrison-Hebel. My pronouns are she and her. I'm pleased to be with you today as your worship associate. Our music today will be provided by Jamie Passman and the a cappella fellas, and UCH members Joe St. Cross and Jay Bankura. We'd like to thank you now for placing your phone in worship mode, but please do feel free to check in on social media and let folks know you are worshiping with us today. Child care for children under the age of 5 is available in our playroom located in the lower level of the Religious Education Building, which is just across the alley right over here. Youngsters are welcome to join the playgroup when the older children are sung out to religious education. But please know that all ages may remain in the service. All voices are welcome here. There's a lot going on around the church, which is awesome. And you can read all about it in News and Notes, which arrives in your inbox every Friday. And there are printed copies available in the living room and downstairs. If you would like to receive News and Notes, stop by the welcoming table in the living room at the back of the church and just sign up. A few announcements. The Racial Equity Team is offering a series of programs to provide information, resources, and dialogue regarding the war in Gaza. They began last Thursday previewing films for discussion. The next opportunity will be today at noon here at UCH with a talk called Working for a Just Peace in Palestine and in the U.S. Rebecca Levin will speak about her journey as a Jew who is committed to justice and peace for all people in the region, and her thoughts about how concerned Americans can engage with the devastating situation in the Holy Land. Also, for recycling, this is a recycling announcement. The volunteers are needed for the Hinsdale Recycle and Shred event on April 13th, which will be at Redeemer Lutheran Church, which is on 1st Street in Hinsdale. There are 2 shifts where they need volunteers. One's 8:45 to 10:30 a.m. and one's 10:30 a.m. to 12:15 if you're not a morning person. If available, you can contact Marianne Hanna Wilson. Is Marianne here yet? I know she's going to be here eventually. And then Friday for some fun and fellowship, fun, faith, and fellowship. Friday evening starting at 5:30. Come to church for a little bit of faith and a lot of fellowship. We all need more of both these days. Boy, that's the truth. And we are excited to help provide them. Join us for dinner and Vespers together. After gathering for worship, each participant will rotate through interesting workshops. All ages are welcome.
Thank you so much, Susan. And I would like to add my welcome to that of Susan. I'm the Reverend Dr. Beth Johnson. My pronouns are she and they. And it is good to see you on this beautiful little drizzly gray day where you bring light and love and hope into this room with your presence. So it is good to be together. We begin our service by acknowledging that we in the western suburbs inhabit areas that are the traditional territories of the indigenous peoples, including the Kickapoo, Peoria, Potawatomi, and others. As people trying to live into a more just world, we have a responsibility to acknowledge the history and legacy of colonialism, the harm done to Native peoples, and also to work to repair that harm. I'm excited about our service this morning. This is a service of celebrating our interdependence. That is the title of our service is The Gift and Demand of Interdependence. Interdependence is one of the core values of Unitarian Universalism. This is a time also where we will be inviting new members into our congregation to join our congregation. So we have a new member ceremony as well, and I'm always excited about that. So in fact, it's my first new member ceremony with you, and what a joy it is. Thank you, Jonathan. It is good, good, good. And just remembering that if you've been thinking about membership, and when we call folks up for the ceremony, if you have an inclination and would like to join, you could pop up if you'd like to do that, right, Pam? Right, Darren? All right. So our opening song is really an affirmation of interdependence. It's "We Are" by Yesaya Barnwell. So I invite you to rise in body or spirit and to sing with us. Beautiful. It is one of my favorite songs. It just reminds us of who and whose we are, which is really what this service is about today. It's about recognizing our interdependence and how we are all connected across space and time. I invite us into worship this morning with words by the Reverend Carol Thomas Sizzle. We are one. We are one. We are one. We are family. We are connected by blood and bone, mind and heart, sometimes brick and mortar, like the finest woven tapestries of old, and the spices blended and stirred into our family's secret recipes. Our lives are intentionally intertwined. We are made, no, we are fashioned into a stronger community by these connections. This interlacing, intertwining, intermingling of our existence makes each of us whole. This interlacing of our lives makes us whole. Happiness and sorrow, intertwining our lives makes us whole. Blessings and burdens, this intertwining of our lives makes us whole. Lament and laughter. May we allow the magic and the mystery, often named spirit, to keep us connected long after today's service is ended. Come, let us worship. It is good to be together.
Our chalice letting words are by Jennifer Grayson. We come together every week bound not by a creed or a mutual desire to please one God or many gods. Yet we are drawn together by a belief that who we are in the world, who we are together, matters. We light this chalice together in the knowledge that love, not fear, can change this world.
I would like to invite up the a cappella fellas. This is for y'all, you new members.
It's a very ancient saying, but true and honest thought, that if you become a teacher, by your pupils you'll be taught. As a teacher I've been learning, you'll forgive me if I boast, but I've now become an expert on the subject I like most. Getting to know you, getting to know you, getting to know all about you, getting to like you, getting to hope you like me, getting to know you, putting it my way but nicely. You are precisely my cup of tea. Getting to know you, getting to feel free and easy. When I am with you, getting to know what to say. Haven't you noticed? Suddenly I'm bright and breezy because of all the beautiful and new things I'm learning from you day by day. Welcome, guys.
Thank you so much. I have on the Tuesday mornings that I'm here, I have the delight to listen to them rehearse, and they bring their music to all sorts of places, to nursing homes and to clubs. So thank you for welcoming our new members. Thank you so much. I'm going to go ahead and invite our new members up. And if you want to come up and line up this way, Charlie Fisher, Tim Irvine, Petra Harris, Bev Skoog, Amanda Ruskowski, come on up. We're glad to see you. And if any other people are so moved by the Holy Spirit of Unitarian Universalism and you feel like y'all want to come on up and join, you can do that. I'm also going to invite up Darren Howard, our community circle coordinator and our president, Bob Daniel Wayman, and of course Pam Fodor, our director of programs. Invite you all on up, and I'm going to come on down and join you now. Thank you. We create time in a service to welcome new members into this community. We make this a public event, not secret. It's public and it's sacred, embedded in our worship service because it's an important decision to make a commitment to a religious body. For the commitment is to this community, and it influences us and the wider Unitarian Universalist community. We as Unitarian Universalists recognize that people freely choose this faith, and it is this choosing that creates the bonds and the ties that bind us. Membership is an act of covenant. Unitarian Universalism is a covenanted faith, not bound by creed or doctrine. We are bound by our sacred promise to journey together in the ways of love. Today, we're deepening our bonds with one another, us, and widening the circle of community by inviting new folks into formal membership. Darren.
Today, we recognize the people who have made the commitment to join our church. We covenant to walk together with you on this journey and to share of ourselves graciously and with joy. May we come to know each other in true religious community.
We extend a special welcome to the children of our new members. Rocco and Hudson, we're so glad that you are here with us and becoming part of our church family. May your energy and enthusiasm be a source of joy for us all.
And because this is not just about our new members, but it's about our congregation also welcoming new members, we have words for you as the congregation to say to our new members. We welcome you as new members. We celebrate that your presence
Enriches our congregation. May this place be a cradle for new dreams, a workshop for our common endeavors, and a home from which to journey and to return
again and again. And new members, we have words for you. Thank you. That was so well done. Thank you. And y'all, we have words for us all to say together. Let us contribute what we can to growing and learning together, to enlarging our spirit of warmth and joy, reaching inward in support of each other, and outward beyond our doors, to foster a more just and peaceful world.
As president, I send welcome to all new members. We celebrate the unique gifts that you bring to the fabric of the community. May this ceremony deepen our bonds to each other and our commitment to nurturing the beloved community.
Thank you, Bob. I don't think we could have imagined a new welcome ceremony without another song. So we have From You I Receive, To You I Give. I'd invite y'all members, you don't have to, but if you'd like to, just sing together one time. From You I Receive, To You I Give, to the new members and to one another. And then it is the tradition in this congregation for new members to sign the membership book. And this is not a performative act. Signing the membership book is becoming a member. That's what is required, is that people sign the membership book. This book, it goes back to the first ministers of this congregation. So it is a wonderful treasure, and I'm so pleased to invite you to sign the membership book. Just come on in, and you can. All you need to do is the date and your name. Why don't you stand on the other side? So glad you're here. the new members. We do have about 3 other folks who are going to be joining but couldn't join us today. Well, let's give them a hand as they go back to their seats. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Love you. I just want to name that your presence among us truly, truly does enrich who we are. Welcome.
I am.
The handoff.
It's so wonderful to have made new connections here today with our new members and with all of our church friends and family this year. These connections not only strengthen our UCH community, but also our places in the great web of life. So now I invite you to join me in my Time for All Ages, and those of you who know me will know why I like this book so much. It's called The Invisible Web by Patrice Karst. The very best news ever has begun to spread all over the world, one heart at a time. Shout it from the mountaintops. Every single one of us is connected to those we love by invisible strings. That means Giovanna and her daddy are always together, even though he moved to a new house. And Omar can feel the tugs of love from his parents, even though he is living far away at school. Mr. Chang still feels Mrs. Chang close by, even though she died such a very long time ago. And you, at this very moment, may feel the strings of someone close to you, even though they aren't there. You can't see it, but it's real. Our strings reach to everyone we know. They travel far and wide to families and friends, classmates and coaches, to bus drivers and babysitters, neighbors and pets, to aunts and uncles and grandparents and grandchildren and countless other people. And all of those people have hundreds of strings. Soaring high over rocky peaks and across the 7 seas, deep into jungles and valleys, and winding through the busiest of cities, all these strings crisscross one another and create a nest that covers the planet, interlacing us together, cradling us forever, the invisible web. The web has no borders and wraps every continent. Within it lives butterflies and flowers, starfish and seahorses, lions and ants, rivers and snowstorms, and all human beings. Giovanna, Omar, Mr. Chang, and, of course, you and me. Some say it even reaches to our ancestors and those we cherish in the beyond. One tug on a string sends love to every one of us woven together in this divine tapestry. Let's try that. And that means just one good deed travels across the entire web. Everything is linked. But sometimes folks forget. When they can't feel their strings, they forget about our invisible web. And that's when strings get tangled up. Like when lonely Louisa isn't invited to sit with anyone at school at lunchtime. Or when sad Stefano wishes his friend Marcos wasn't so bossy when they played. or when Mrs. Patel struggles at work without help and she just wants to quit. Even violence and war can erupt when too many of us forget the web. When strings are ignored, they can become weak and start to unravel. But the more people who care for the web, the stronger it remains. The web feels like every parent since the beginning of time, holding and protecting each one of us in millions of gentle arms. What could be stronger than all those hands holding us close? So many supportive fingers can always find a way to untangle strings so that love can flow again. But it's up to every one of us to spread the word. Our time is right now. As we tell our family and friends, sisters will remain brothers, who will write to cousins, who will call their great-grandparents, who will just nod and smile because they've known all along. If we remember the web and tug at it often, nobody will ever be left out. We will see others more clearly. The people of the world will look into each other's eyes. They will smile at one another, and when one of them cries, they will all want to help. And they do. Marcos apologizes to Stefano, who forgives his friend, and they have even more fun playing. Someone helps Mrs. Patel at work and tells her what a great job she's doing, and she remembers that she's important and feels happy. And Louisa feels warm and bubbly inside when a few of the kids in her class ask her to join them under the banyan tree for lunch. She knows right then that the invisible web is real. After school, Louisa cries with joy as she strokes her cat, who purrs the news to the stars. And the stars whisper the secret to the clouds, who share it with the songbirds, who serenade the world with this exquisite melody of love at the start of each morning and all during the day until, as the invisible web glitters in the magic of twilight, the owls take over and hoot the news through the night. The invisible web is alive. Its time is right now. It breathes as we breathe, pulsing all over our earth, the single heartbeat of life and love. And do you know what that makes us all? One very big family. Amen and blessed be.
Please join in singing our children out to their classes.
Many of us came to this church and Unitarian Universalism generally in part because we believe questions speak to our spirit, because we believe we can find strength in uncertainty, because we can celebrate beauty in imperfection, because we find affirmation in service, because we recognize that what we do, what we say, how we move and work in the world resonates throughout the shimmering, fragile, resilient, gossamer web of life. By supporting this church, you also support the work we do in the larger world. In the words of Albert Einstein, to widen our circle of compassion to embrace all living creatures and the world which we share. Please join us as we say our offertory words together. This church is made up of all of us. It is what we learn together, the work we do together, the fun we have together. It is what we share with one another, with the world around us, with the world, sorry, my bad. We now gratefully receive your contribution. Thank you in advance for your generosity. Take this opportunity to breathe. Just take in a breath. Release your breath. And reflect on the interdependence that we all share, on the beauty of that gossamer web that is strengthened and sustained by the loving kindness we share with one another. People we know and with people we don't know. And I invite you to join me in singing our centering song, number 1031. Our reading today is from Virginia Remy Mollenkott from her book, What Does It Mean to Be Human? In my peripheral vision, there was a flash of greenish red, then a sickening thud against the window pane. I jumped up from my desk, dreading what I would find, and sure enough, on her side in the grass beneath my window lay a female cardinal. Nearby, her crimson partner stood his ground in anxious dignity. The cat. I made a dive for the open door, lured the cat inside with the promise of treats, closed off her access to the out of doors. And then I waited and waited, hoped and hoped. I knew these cardinals were recent parents. They had nested in a bush next to my bedroom window, and often they whistled me awake. Would this royal lady ever witness the flying of her young? About an hour later, the one eye that I could see came open, staring at first, but with a gradual returning alertness. Good. Then she began to turn her head, cautiously righting herself. Later, a tentative hop. And finally, with great suddenness, she winged her way across the yard, low at first, but then swinging upward. What was it that stirred and lifted within me at her sudden return to glory? And what was it that did an inner dance later that day when I saw her and her consort darting here and there across the front lawn, teaching their fledglings to fly? How to name that sense of yearning connectedness, that interwoven oneness, that goddess ground on which all being rests, that surging energy by which all things consist? I live and move within it, and it lives and moves within me. Yet it is beyond my naming. Perhaps we might call it love or life. To recognize and honor it is reverence. To deny it is to delude oneself with the notion that differences like form, species, color, and function are ultimately important. To deny connectedness is to deny reality, and that denial is merely a mistake or illusion. Alas, however, in a world of diverse forms that certainly do appear to be separate and competing for scarce resources, the result of this illusion can be tragic. Inhumanity, cruelty, barbarism. How then can we stimulate in one another the delicate fellow feeling, the connected awareness, the reverence that deals not death, but life? Here is our challenge, and it is a great one, to remind the human spirit that despite apparent differences, all of us have wings of one sort or another, and all are intended to fly.
Thank you, Susan. This is one of my sacred texts. It's from a book, Reverence for Life, Revisited, for the 21st century. It's an essay in a book that called us at the beginning of this century to consider what does it mean to be human. The fact of the matter is, Susan, I have never heard anyone else read it. I usually read it myself. Something in hearing it stirred something in me. And it is the question, I probably encountered this reading when I was in seminary, and it became, as I said, a sacred text among others. And it is a question, the question, how indeed can we stimulate that fellow feeling, that connected awareness, that interwoven oneness on which all being consists. We live and move within it. It lives and moves within us. Yet it is so often beyond our awareness. And along with a couple of other texts, this is a guiding text for me in my ministry here with you, in my activism, in the wider community, and in life. Mallinckrodt beautifully unfolds the power of realizing our oneness with all of creation, even a small bird, whose fate was somehow bound up in Mallinckrodt. Her words enliven our sensibilities, awaken our awareness of the illusion of separateness, and it is a corrective to inhumanity, cruelty, and barbarism, just like that invisible thread that Pam shared with us in the story. Everything, beloveds, is connected, and everything is at stake, and everything that we do matters. So this awareness of our interconnectedness is both a call and a promise. I promise that when we allow ourselves to open our hearts, to quiet and feel that connection with one another, with those who are different, with the rest of creation, and yes, even the cosmos, we are enlivened and ennobled and become who, as humans, we were called to be, to live into the evolutionary imperative of our realization of our oneness. Awakening from that illusion is liberating, and we know that liberation for one is liberation for all. Now, Mallinckrodt brings us into this earthly realm, right? I'm just so excited to see cardinals, which I didn't have in San Diego. I'm so grateful for all of the beauty that we nurture here. Now, mythologist Michael Meade, in a recent podcast, Eclipses and Epiphanies, takes us to the cosmos. He's exploring the effect of eclipses on the human psyche and the human experience. I listened to it late one night earlier this week, as I want to do. Michael Meade is also one of my great teachers. I was wishing that I could be in the path of totality, and so I've decided to try and make my way to Indiana to do so, especially since this total eclipse of the sun will not occur again until 2044, and I won't see that, likely. I was so moved by Meade's reflection on eclipses and epiphanies that I have done something that I have never done in all of my years of ministry. I completely scrapped what I had prepared for you today, because you need to hear his words more than you need to hear mine. So I'm going to excerpt some of his podcast and recommend it to you. Meade reminds us, he says, that 7 years ago, another total eclipse traversed parts of the U.S., and a survey afterwards at the University of Michigan estimated that more than 150 million people observed the total eclipse directly, while another 60 million watched it on TV or on the web. The survey stated that this level of exposure dwarfs the viewership of the Super Bowl and other earthly events, and it ranks among one of the most viewed events in American history. Another study found that around the time of the total eclipse, Twitter, now X, messages exhibited more from people who expressed less focused attention and more of a pro-social, affiliated, even humble, collective sense of connection and language. The study concluded that just as the moon aligned with the sun up in the heavens, people down on earth aligned with each other in awe of this spectacular celestial event. During the moments of what is called totality, darkness descends upon the earth with stunning swiftness. The air temperature suddenly drops as birds and insects start acting strangely. The power of the total eclipse comes from this strangeness, from the fact that the event is so unusual that it appears unlike anything else. Since ancient times, this seemingly natural event has seemed to have supernatural overtones. Seeing the sun's corona or hidden crown is a rare thing in itself, but the eclipsed sun is also revealed to be surrounded by bright stars and planets that are not otherwise seen in the daytime. How many of you have seen the images of the planets that are going to be visible tomorrow? The sun and the stars, the planets, do not, under normal circumstances, seem to be sharing the same sun. A total solar eclipse has the paradoxical quality of hiding the sun while also revealing aspects of its true nature. At totality, the sun appears as it truly is, a star among other stars. At totality, it looks more like a living, breathing thing rather than a bright, solid orb. This unusual sight can be a reinforcement of the now common idea that we are each but a mere speck on a piece of rock drifting around the sun, or it can be a revelation that assures our souls that we are secretly connected to the whole living cosmos. Hundreds of millions of people who feel instinctively driven to observe this rare heavenly event are not acting out of simple curiosity, but are knowingly or unknowingly being drawn to the underlying sense that we are connected to the heavens, that we are interconnected with the cosmos. Mead mentions that there is the eclipse side in which the sun appears to disappear momentarily, while the other side, he says, which he would call the epiphany side, reveals the sun in its connection to the other stars and planets, and can reveal to us the ways in which our own souls are connected to the hidden totality of life, which secretly aligns our souls, our individual souls, with the whole living, moving, changing, cosmic thing. He goes on one condition of life in the modern post-industrial world is that we experience a sense of separation from nature, along with a sense of dislocation from the cosmos. When we look for meaning, we might be told that meaning has become a relative thing, that it can be deconstructed and rephrased in many ways. If we turn to typical science for comfort, we can be told that life is no more than an accidental occurrence on a small planet orbiting a relatively unimportant star within a random and meaningless universe. Yet, there are moments in each life when we touch what the Irish poet James Joyce termed an epiphany, a moment in which the soul of the most common object can be seen as radiant. Epiphanies are occasions of unexpected benediction and blessing, during which meaning can flood us with a felt sense of the wholeness and holiness of life. Despite the increase of cynicism and the rise of nihilism, our souls have an inborn expectation to have profound experiences of luminosity and the hidden unity of life. The numinous appears as something uncanny and mysterious that gives us a sense of the presence of the divine and awakens a deeply felt intuition of the rightness of a situation, of an event. Within such a moment, the habitual distinction we made between inner and outer, subjective and objective, between dream and reality, breaks down to reveal the living cosmos and our own lives under one eclipse light. For a moment of indefinite duration, our attention is pulled away from the increasingly divided and polarized world in which we live. And the world suddenly makes sense. And as wise people used to say, the whole world revealed itself to be a form of living truth. In the midst of all the confusion and growing chaos in the world, I keep thinking of that part of us that naturally searches for meaning and for beauty and for truth, the inner archetypal initiate. In many traditional initiations, the novice would be introduced to a deep sense of connection to nature and also to a sense of the sacred experience of being part of the living cosmos. Since the modern world typically lacks any meaningful connection to dynamics of rites or passage, which I would say to our impoverishment, Mead says, it may take an unusual event like the total eclipse of the sun for people to want to drop everything in order to look up to the heavens. The idea that you cannot look directly at the total eclipse of the sun carries the suggestion that we are supposed to see such a cosmic event in another way. We are each a child of the fertile earth below our feet. We are also descendants of the starry skies above our heads. We belong to more than one dimension of life, and our souls are secretly attuned to other levels of reality. There's another way to see the meaning that shines forth from a total eclipse of the sun. One level, life is visible, palpable, and readily observable to the human eye. The other, mostly invisible, seemingly ephemeral, and more difficult to come to know. Yet that second level is the most essential to our well-being and critical to our understandings of both life and death. The point is not to become inflated with an exaggerated sense of the overriding importance of humanity. That kind of inflation is what separated us from our innate connection to nature. The point involved the interconnectedness that places us and also stretches us between the dark earth and the heavens above. We are still each star-born, and we can be at times star-guided. The hidden light within our souls is the star spark that connects each of us to the cosmic origins of life. As life all around us seems to make less and less sense, we're called to rediscover our cosmic origins and our mythological inheritance. Hard-nosed physicists find themselves waxing metaphysical as they encounter the mysteries of life at the extension of powerful telescopes and penetrating microscopes that reveal the pure and continuing wonder of the creative world. Astrophysicists now consider that bit of the original star has to be in each person. Let me repeat that. Astrophysicists now consider that a bit of the original star has to be in each person. They reason that if it began with the explosion of a star, then everything that appeared afterwards may have some of that original star in it or could not be part of existence. If there is to be a renaissance of some kind in the midst of all the worldwide disturbances and global troubles, we may have to find the sparks of inspiration and glint of innovation in the speck of star we carry within ourselves. The many disasters of modern life include the lack of vertical imagination and the loss of the mystery and wonder of the world, and along with it, a tragic misunderstanding of our place in it. As the eclipse of the sun draws near and a moment of darkness can be predicted, our planet already stands at a crisis point. Our way out can no longer lie in fantasies of control, but rather in a new wisdom, which is really the ancient wisdom come round again. Just as the light of the sun appears after a period of darkness, an awakening of the human soul can be gathering itself. An awakening of the human soul can be gathering itself in the midst of a dark time on earth. Just as time seems to be running out on everyone, the eternal force of life tries to slip back into human awareness. As in the midst of a total eclipse of the sun, things become impossible, both impossible and more possible at the same time. Amidst the theories of how it all might come to an end, the threads of the eternal that rise from the original source of life can be found again. As the poet, painter, and philosopher William Blake put it, each day has a moment of eternity waiting for you. And an eclipse of the sun can be seen as a gift, as a collective moment of eternity waiting, wishing, and wanting to be seen by the inner eye, trying to open from within each and all of our souls. Beloved, during this extraordinary time, I invite us to take in Michael Mead's words. Whether you are going to be outside with special glasses or a box with a hole in it, or whether you're going to have to be at work, leave work. It should be a day off. Leave work. Go, look, see, feel. Remember, you can see why I chose his words, not mine. Take his magical, archetypal, invitational, inspirational words as a call to what is possible for us as human beings at this time on this earth, again in such great peril. But we know that hope simply means, beloved, we do not know the future. We create the future together. It is together, recognizing that interwoven oneness, that goddess ground on which all being consists. We live and move within it, and it lives and moves within us, and yet it is beyond our naming. But we strive to name, don't we? Mythologists, poets, writers, philosophers, theologians, us. We strive to name it because there's something in the naming that allows us to claim our inheritance, inheritors of that big birth, the cosmic connection that we have to everything, even though we can't always feel it. Breathe with me. Take a breath right now. Breathe. Know that the breath connects you to everything that ever was. As we breathe in oxygen molecules that have been at one point or another in the billions of every breathing being that came before, speaking of interconnectedness. Breathe again. Allow the breath connect you here and now to one another, to those near, to those far, a world away. Breathe. And know that we are connected each to each in every moment. What an idea. And beloved, breathe and exhale. And know that the exhale makes you, us, an ancestor for those who will come. The process theologian Charles Hartshorne wrote, "Love of self and love of others are much on the same footing, and neither makes much sense merely beyond itself. Apart from our interest in others, who are we? What are we? Apart from this, we have no self. It is our loves that make us anything worth mentioning." So allow the love that I believe birthed us forth be in, through, and among you tomorrow, at the time of this magical occurrence. And take that as we strengthen the bonds of this community, may these bonds strengthen us to bring that sense of wonder, of justice, and yes, of joy. Because what could be more joyful than remembering who and whose we are? I love you. And amen. Please join in our chalice extinguishing words. We extinguish this flame with one of lives of truth, the warmth of this community, the fire of our commitment. This we carry in our hearts and share with all the world. So, y'all, I told you it was the middle of the night. I changed everything. So I had to change the closing song. It was a lovely song. We'll sing it another time. And I know that we have sung this song, Jeannie, we've sung it a lot. But we're going to sing it again, because how could we not sing Blue Boat Home? I invite you to rise, embody your spirit, and sing with me. It's number 1064 in your teal hymnal, and sing it, y'all knowing that you belong. Benediction will be the last verse of the song. I give thanks to the waves upholding me. Hail the great winds urging me on. Greet the infinite sea before me. Sing the sky my sailor song. I was born upon the fathoms. Never harbor or port have I known. The wide universe is the ocean I travel, and the earth is my blue boat home.
And now a musical welcome to our new members. I'm so happy to have you
Here. us for coffee and conversation and greet our new members as we adjourn to the social hall below.